Welcome to another episode of Work and Be Happy, the best series for working and be happy
The only one.
on the YouTube. The only one.
You don't have any
All
other
right,
option.
today we are going to. You are stick with us. Today we are going to be talking about co-funding and working uh, with your friends in your company, and mostly in bootstrap company because we are bootstrapped, but it can be even early stage startup, whatever. But I believe it's a pretty common theme because you are going to a high school with your friends, you are going to college with your friends, you spend a lot of time with your friends, and maybe when you are creative, you can find out that someone else is also creative, and it would make sense to start a company together or start a product together. Like in Czech Republic, it happens the way that you sit on a beer, you chat about like how the universe came to be, and then you got amazing idea on the next product that should exist, and you do it with your friends. So, and we did it the same way with the guys, and I believe that's why we can share some of our experience, because we are working together with Marek and Pretty for 7 years, something like that, for a long time, and we have difficult periods, like real difficult periods. And we also work with other of our friends. We are still working with many of our friends. I really like it. Like, I really like working with my friends. So I believe there is a lot of like power in that and benefit in that, but it can be really challenging. So what do you guys think in general about working with
Yeah,
your
me
friends?
personally, I
Maybe just let's
can't
start.
even imagine like actually founding a business with someone who's not my friend. Actually, can you imagine something like that, guys? Like maybe you will meet someone in, I
No.
don't know, like in a company where you are working, and like you kind of know the person. He's pretty like excellent as what he's doing, but it's not your friend. Can you imagine founding a company with someone like that?
I think for me
I
it will be mainly issue of the trust. So it will be hard, but like people do it all the time. So I don't think it's impossible or anything. I think it's very manageable. It's possible to do it. It's just that I think over the time, if the relationship is going well, we will become friends anyway. I think it's very hard with your co-founders to stay just purely business partners for longer than, let's say, like 2 years. I think you can spend, even if you don't know the person, I think you can risk it and maybe start the business. But after half a year, if you are not friends or like have very close relationship, I think it's time to like reevaluate if everything is okay, basically, because
why are you saluting, Marek? Like, what the heck?
Yeah,
We are friends, man. I'm not your general. All right.
yeah,
Yeah, I
this is very
think
weird way
Freddy,
to
you are
say.
right. Check way to salute. I think Freddy, you are right. I think, and I have one experience actually of working with friend that I met, and it's also, but it's also, it always is like that. It's first it's my friend, and then maybe we can start working together. And what's the difference is for how long we are the friends, because for example with you guys, we went on high school, we spent together 4 years. Like the friendship there is kind of strong in terms of the friendship, and as well in terms of the knowledge or of the trust of the person. Like you see him every day or her every day. But I also uh, met Jordan on Bali, right? And we spent just 1 week together, and there was something that we felt that, and it made sense to start working together after that, even if we didn't know that well
Mhm.
each other, but we were friends, and it's interesting. But also, it resulted in many issues, right?
Yeah, I think the Jordan's case is pretty interesting because I remember like when we started to work together, even as contractors, it was really important for him to get us on one place and to really spend the week together. And the work wasn't even like the most important thing, during the week. It was mostly about getting to know each other, and I think it was
Hmm.
pretty good move, like from him. Like,
Yeah, I
he
agree. I
basically
agree.
tried to and he succeeded to create the friendship before we started to really become a business partners or to work.
Yeah, and he was also open about okay, if like if we don't meet like in the business terms, we can still maybe be friends but don't work together, and was open, which is nice. But even after that period, we had difficulties, which is interesting. So I believe the next question is like, what should you set up front? What should you talk about? How before you commit to this? And it's pretty challenging question even for us because I don't believe we actually set anything up front. Uh, like we only said few things that was like, okay, we will share all the companies equally between us. We will share the cash equally between us, and I will be the CEO.
Yeah, like basically, I think we had the luxury to set very, like few rules because we knew each other for such a long time that we, you know, knew that most probably we are going to have like similar opinions when the problems are going to arise. But with Jordan it's different because we didn't know each other for years, and actually when there were some problems we had sometimes different opinions on that.
Yeah. And I would also like to add to that is that you probably, I think if you're starting the bootstrapping company, you probably should not set too many rules between your co-founders, because if you need so much rules, I think that's a sign that probably this relationship is not going to go too well. So I think you need to have something basically like us. If you know each other a little bit less, then you can set a little bit more rules, but not too much, because anyway, if something goes wrong, these rules basically don't mean anything. It's basically just
That's a good point.
if the people don't want to respect it, then they just will not, because there is like almost no stakes in the company, there is no money involved, it's still so young, so it's going to change all the time. And if you need like a list of 50 points basically that both of you need to hold, I think this is not a good idea
Yeah, I
to
think
start this
Yeah.
kind
So
of relationship.
this is the kind of truth like people don't want to hear, I think. Like there's if there's not, if your co-founder is not your friend and you don't know him for like a longer time, then there are no set of rules which are going to fix this fact. So basically
mm,
you should, in my opinion, you should really co-found a company only with someone you know for year, maybe two at least. And you don't just know the person, but you have actually spent some time, and maybe spend some time where you actually hit some problems. Maybe you were hiking together and like there was like a storm or something, and you know how the person behave in such situations. Like maybe it's the same with girls.
that's a good way.
You only found out if you go well together when you hit some roadblocks. Basically.
That's a good way actually. Maybe that's a really cool hack. I have two things in my mind. First is that that's a cool hack. Maybe if you have a friend, you don't know long them for such a long time, but maybe there is opportunity to work together. Go for a hiking trip for 1 week. You will learn a lot. You will learn a lot about that person, and it can help you decide if you do want to do it with your like if you want to do if you want to do it. And the second is like what to do when, for example, you are not sure that you are that great friends, but you need that person for starting the company. Like, should you hire them? Should you make a contract with them that they are like employee for with equity? Should you try to make them your friends? Like, what should you do? Should you just give up and say, okay, this is really dangerous?
You mean like hiring people, no, not co-founding with?
Yeah, maybe it can result in the hiring, as I said in the beginning of the title. Like maybe if they are not like they are not your friends, or you can see that they are different mindsets, but you really need them to work with you because they are, for example, like developers, and you need them to execute their project, and you want to execute that project. How you do it?
And they are your friends?
Well, you can risk it.
You can risk it, yeah.
I think you can just, I mean, I think what we are talking about right now it's not that you actually have to be absolute like best friends and like indispensable of each other to start a company. You can be light friends and then like deepen the relationship in the business. I think what we are saying is just that you have to have at least some history before, I think, but 1 year is not enough to really create like best friends, like it usually takes much longer than that. So but I think for the business, for example, half a year, 1 year, or one hiking trip can be enough, and you can risk it, and maybe it will not go well, but to be completely honest, like 90% of bootstrappers don't go well anyway, so there is like million different reasons your company is going to fail. And maybe if you at least have some relationship, it's I don't think it's a good excuse to not start it and at least try it. I think it would be bad to
Mm.
then like waste 3 years basically, but I think you have to make decisions quickly to just try it out, but then later make a correction and basically after 3 to 4 months say, okay, this is not working out, I need to leave or like continue basically and really evaluate the relationship. I think this is a good idea, but
Mhm.
but yeah, I don't think you have to be best friends exactly to start a company.
Yeah, maybe I have another input here, and this is like pretty personal, but me personally, I would rather work on a business which is not going too well, but do the business with friends where the relationship is pretty good, and not the other way around where I would maybe work with someone who's like super good expert on the field, and we are having like wonderful business, but we are not getting well, you know getting along together pretty well, because I think this is exactly the kind of thing which can really fucked up your life, like
Mm.
it,
That's true.
it's super easy to just say fuck you to someone who is not good for you when the company is not going well, but if it works it can be pretty difficult, you know
It's true. I like I like how Marek every time he's trying to not to jump into our sentences, and every time he has something to that he feels really needs to say with his body, he's like,
yeah, it's just fucked up, like
like it's coming out. I need to say it, but it's a good way because that way I can see you want to talk, so I shut up. So it's
yeah,
good.
maybe there should be like like you would press, for example, one key, and there would be like some kind of sign next to your video,
Yeah,
so
little
others
hand.
can see like you want to. That would be pretty cool.
You're
Maybe.
basically spamming. Let me talk, mate.
Yeah, because there's just a difference between like natural talk, and the online call.
Yeah,
It's just
that's
much
true.
easier to switch between persons when you are talking when it's natural, and on the online call it's kind of difficult.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. We can add that feature. Brady, you will add it. Yeah. So this all of this takes me to another question, and that's how to when you are already in the relation with your friends, like you're a co-founder the company, you are working with them, and you have some difficulties because you found out that each of you want to have a different way. For example, one of you wants to take VC funding, and the other don't want to take and want to stay bootstrapped, or one has something really difficult in their life and for example cannot focus on the work that much, and the other want to work really hard to make the business successful. And I believe we lived through all these cases kind of in one another way, and we always managed to make them work, which I'm really proud on our team in these terms. And I believe that as soon as you combine working together with your friends and making it through all these difficult situations, that becomes like your superpower, your super strength. You are just on another level. But what to do and how you should behave,
Mhm.
like and I
um,
believe we should take it on a personal level, like how I should behave, not you, how I should
I,
behave
I
in
think
this situation.
I think my answer to that would be a little bit controversial. I don't think it's most important thing, but
Like,
it's I
take a
think
Kalashnikov
and then kill the other guy basically. Yeah,
Serbia talks.
the Eastern way basically. No, but uh, yeah, it's just something that I was like thinking about. I think last week it just came to my mind, and I do think it's important. I think this is the one of the things that helped us to get through all the problems over the last 7 years, and that is that even if there are some disagreements or like there is a split direction or something like that, uh, you still continue working on the business, basically on the product. Even I think this is something that I noticed between the three of us. Even like when we are having some small fight or we are disagreeing with something, you basically still continue uh, doing the work that was like supposed to be done this week, for example, or this month, or these three
Mhm.
weeks. And then you discuss the problems, obviously. Like you cannot just put it in the ground and like pretend it doesn't exist. You should discuss it. But I don't think it's an excuse to basically stop every time there is a problem. You still continue, and then
Mm.
you solve the problem in parallel. I think this is something that allowed us to kind of stay focused on the business and not get overwhelmed by like stopping and just solving the single problem. I think there can be time where you need to do that, but it's very very rare, I would say, because there is always going to be some problem. And when there is so much problem that this is not an excuse to basically not ship a feature or do some customer feedback or do the customer support or create a video or something like that. I think you
Yeah,
should
this
be
makes
able to split these two things.
Yeah,
this is a good point. That makes sense in when for example you are thinking about should you take VC funding or stay bootstrap. We did it. We had these discussions. It was long discussions, but we kept going on the product, right? Like we weren't sure where is the vision of the product. We had long discussions that were pretty hard and intense, but we still kept doing the product. Which first keeps you in the flow. It keeps you in touch with all the others without being in clash with them. And as you said, it's important to solve the issue together with that. But for example, we had one issue like when Marek had a hard time, and even Peter, when we were working with him, had a hard time like in his personal life. And that's where I believe this situation cannot work, because you are like, okay, let's push it, but the one person cannot push it for whatever reason. Like you can have whatever reason, and it can happen. It's totally honest, like normal. So what to do in those
yeah. I think
situations,
those are the situation
Marek?
where you actually found out, like, if you should work together or not. Because when everything is going all right, yeah, it's easy for everyone, you know. But I think uh, the main reason why we were able to, stay together for like 7 years or maybe longer, and to really get through all these like failed businesses and disagreements and like personal life problems and everything, was the fact that we are valuing evaluating like our relationship more than the businesses we are actually doing. And I think this is the most important thing, because we know, like, this idea, maybe it's not going to work, and this contract, maybe it's just this month when we will make money and move on. But like the relationship and the core team will always stay, and I think that's the mindset, like.
Yeah, but for example, we had this one situation. I believe that's really interesting example where actually we decided to stop working with you, and it was first before we went working with Jordan and Sponsise. Then we continue working together, and then on the Sponsise, right? Because like you had really hard time focusing on the work and delivering, and we with Predrag we were really frustrated with like like pushing the stuffs all the time, and you just like not pushing it enough. And we decided that like the business should at the time go without you, or you should have like lesser equity and maybe work a little bit less. And we know about it. And what I believe is important is what you said first, that we value the relation. So it's not like just fuck you, I hate you, you are not working, bye. It's really about talking. And there are a few things that I believe are important, and it's honesty, which is hard, but really be honest with yourself. So as soon as you feel like, okay, I maybe not working as hard as the other guys, and it can create frustration, go and talk about it with them, with your friends. Like say them, hey, I'm not working that much, are you okay with it or not? Like I have my own value, I believe I have my own value, but are you okay with it? I see you are working twice that hard that as me, and I have some difficulties right now. And like be candid with everything you want to do. And like it's hard to describe it. There's a thin line between like it's a business, but it's also a friendship. So you have to sometimes say it's a business, I'm sorry, it's a business and you are my friend, but it's a business. And right now I cannot work with you because you are not working hard enough, and I don't believe the business will be successful. What we can do about it?
Yeah, like,
Are you okay?
I know what you are talking about. Actually, the thin line is the fact that it's actually a friendship, so it's very personal. But on the other hand, it's business, and you shouldn't take it personal. Like, so, I think that was the
Yeah.
fact why we were able to work together, even when you
Mhm.
said to me like, "Hey, Marek, you are not working as hard as we do in lately, so like we should do something about that. Maybe we will lower your percentage in the company. You can stay here. You can get it back if you get back on track." And for me, it wasn't really that hard at the time, because I said, okay, I don't take this personally, and they are right. So yeah, okay, let's do it this way, and what
Yeah,
they are saying is
exactly.
reasonable, so why not to try it?
Yeah,
But
exactly.
this is,
That,
I think,
that's
very
really
very
important.
hard. Like, maybe I'm the kind of person who, for whose it's not really hard, I don't take things too much personally. But when your friends say this to you, maybe it's hard for someone.
Yeah, it is hard. Brady looks dead inside right now.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
He's
it's the
like,
it's
color of
like,
the sun.
again, it boils down to the fact that like doing business really requires to go down deep into your personality and become as good as a person as you can, because it's really going to help you not only in the business, in the life, but
yeah,
it's important.
yeah. It's true. It's true. You need to go deep on yourself, and you need to become self-confident. You need to see your strengths and your weaknesses really well. You need to be self-aware. Really, really, it's important because you will get into a situation where you need to be on your own and anchor yourself down and know your borders, where you want to let the friends go and where you don't want to let your friends go. I'm not sure if this is like, it's very esoteric talk and it's hard to describe it in English, but I believe people will understand it. And what I also believe is important to say is that you should not take things personally, even if you are friends. You should. It's a business. Like, that's also important. Like, we valued our friendship more than the business. This is the core, but all of us were okay that we are doing business, and we are like straight about it and open and like, hey, sorry, we are not doing enough.
Yeah,
Maybe you should not have that much equity.
for
Like,
example.
but we were friends, so we have it in the core, but we are like, it's still a business. We are doing business, guys. We are not like, mm, I don't know, spending time together just
I would say,
playing,
like, for example, if you
ping-pong.
don't, invite your friend to your birthday, yeah, then that's personal, and you
Yeah.
should take that personal. But when you say, okay, you are not working as hard as me, and I don't want to give you as much percentage, then that's not personal. It's not the same case.
And it's important to be open about it and candid, like really open and honest, and say it out loud and communicate. The communication is crucial. The communication without taking things personally, without valuing the friendship, and knowing that you are doing business is crucial for this, because then you can really say, hey, I don't think you are working enough, but he can or her can say to you, like, I think I am working enough. This is my value. And you can talk about it completely
Yeah.
openly, and you don't need to take it personally, and say, fuck you, I'm working enough and I hate
And
you.
when I'm thinking about this, like, I think this is the fact why we three actually stayed together, because we had like many more peoples around, during the years, but only we three, I think, were able to not take things personally when she did the fun.
Mhm.
Because with other people,
It's true.
sometimes this is pretty challenging, like to draw the line between the business and the personal stuff.
Yeah. Cool. I think that's everything about this topic. It was a really interesting topic. I believe for many people who want to start their company, it makes sense to start it with their friends, and it's important. And I believe it's a good way to do it. I believe it's a good thing to start a business with your friend. I wouldn't do it the other way. I love to working with my friends, even though there are challenges. I believe that if your heart is kind of open, you believe in, you are self confident enough, you value the friendship above everything, but you are doing business, and the business is for sake of making a living, making the money, being successful, being sustainable in what terms you want. You will get through it in a good way, and if it works for you, it's a superpower, it's super strength, and this was validated for us many times, through talks with VC investors, through launching our product super quickly, working for companies, whatever. This is a super strength if it works.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Thanks everyone for watching. If you found this interesting, leave us a comment, and maybe share your experience if you work with your friends. It would be cool to hear it from someone else and their own opinion. If you want to chat with us, you can just hit us in the comment, and you can talk with guys from Houston, Europe. That's something you can do only once in your life for some reason. All right. Bye.
Bye.